Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mthulisi Mpofu from the University of Water. I'm currently doing my master's in geology. I'm going to give a talk about human evolution. This is one of the subjects which is controversial to most people and even to different religious sects. But put on your seatbelt and relax as I take you through the journey of human evolution. In the access hierarchy of models, our presentation falls under climate changes, ice ages, and evolution. What then is evolution? Evolution is a change in species over a geological period of time. As we talk about a geological period of time, we are not talking about changes which occur over months. We are not talking about changes which occur over days or hours, but we are talking about changes which occur over millions and millions of years. So these are changes which occur over a long period of time. This concept of evolution was introduced by none other than Charles Darwin, who, after studying certain species, realized that they were different from the other. He then came to a conclusion that this was due to a process called natural selection. This process of natural selection is not about the survival of the fittest. It's not about feeling that you need something for you to survive, but it's about genetic characteristics which are passed on to the other generation to enhance survival and reproduction. As an example, we shall look at the peppered moth, whereby there were two varieties, the black moth and the white moth. We get to see that these varieties were a result of random mutation. Now, it is in generation 1 that the white moth were more than the black moth. This is because that the white moth were better camouflaged as compared to the black moth. Therefore, the black moth were easily attacked by predators. It is in generation 2 that the black moth then started becoming more than the white moth. This was due to industrialization. So as there was industrialization, it then meant that there were high rates of pollution. The high rates of pollution then affected the surrounding vegetation, making it even more darker. As the vegetation was even made more darker, it then meant that the black moth were more camouflaged to the trees which they lived in as compared to the white moth. Therefore, the black moth then became even more abundant as compared to the white moth. What then is human evolution? We have a clear understanding of what human evolution is by understanding how temperatures have been in the past. And as we look at this stage around 65 million years ago, we get to see that temperatures were extremely high. And as they were extremely high, it is in this stage that there was the extinction of the dinosaurs. We get to see that after the extinction of the dinosaurs, there is a drastic drop of temperatures. The drastic drop of temperatures then meant that there was the cooling which occurred across the planet. This cooling which occurred across the planet was then responsible for the evolution of us hominids. And this evolution occurred around 3 million years ago. After this, we get to see that there are continuous oscillations which we see here. And these oscillations were a result of the Earth becoming sensitive to the Milankovitch cycle. It is also in this stage that there was the Benguela upwelling. That's when it actually commenced. And this commencing of the Benguela upwelling, it then was then responsible for replacing the tropical rainforest with the savanna grassland. And it is this savanna grassland which then favored bipedalism. As there was this process and as there was this savanna grassland which resulted, it then meant that the trees were sparsely distributed, and even the fruits were sparsely distributed. Now, the primates which were living at that period of time had two distinct features. They had grasping fingers and toes, and more so, they had a binocular vision. It is these two distinct features which enabled it to survive in the arboreal environment. However, because of the change in climate and the trees becoming sparse, it then became difficult for these primates to survive. Hence, through time, with genetic frequencies being passed on to the next generation, it meant that they had to be bipedal so that they could be able to move from one place to another. Therefore, bipedalism was the ability to walk upright. As it was the ability to walk upright, it then meant that the two limbs were freed. As the two limbs were freed, it enabled these species to be able to move around. It enabled these species to be able to carry their infants. It enabled the species to also protect themselves from the other predators. Now, let us look at the human timescale. This is the most important timescale which makes us to trace where exactly we come from. There is an important link which people have missed as they have looked in this time scale. It is this division or this split that we get to see here, that there is a common ancestor of humans and great apes which is being shared. And it is around 6 million years ago that there was a split, and the split gave rise to the hominini and the gorillini. And the hominini were human-like species. And to trace our evolution, we are going to focus on the hominini. So by looking at this time scale, we get to realize that we are not from the chimpanzees, but we share a common ancestor with the chimpanzees. Now, under the hominini group, we have got the first group, which is none other than the Australopithecines. The Australopithecines were the first hominids to evolve, and they're believed to have evolved 10 million years ago as the earth was becoming cooler. And these were also said to be bipedal. By bipedal, as I had alluded earlier on, they were able to walk upright. And as they were able to walk upright, it enabled them to move into the surrounding regions to look for food to survive. And these Australopithecines had ape-like features and a small brain. Now the next group were the Homo habilis. The Homo habilis are believed to have evolved around 2 million years ago, and these are also said to have been called the handymen. By the fact that they were handymen, they are said to have used their hands to actually make tools, and as they made tools, they were able to move into the surrounding regions to hunt as much animals as they could. As we can see from this diagram, these type of species were small in stature, and from the diagram we actually get to see that the old man is holding a stone to show that they were handymen. They actually used their hands to make as much tools as they could for them to survive. The next group is the Homo ergaster. This was the group which was more complicated. It was complicated because it had a complex brain structure. As it had a complex brain structure, it then meant that it was able to hunt in groups. It is in this group whereby there were leaders in their society, whereby there was unity, which was actually shown by the way which they handled themselves. And above all, these were more distinct as compared to the earlier species, as seen by this diagram, that these ones were more hairless as compared to the other species. We then come to the Homo erectus. These ones are said to have been the first to actually come up with the concept of fire. They were the first ones to make fire. As they were the first ones to make fire, this then implied that they actually had a bigger brain size as compared to the previous species. Therefore, they were even able to hunt animals. They were even able to have a complex social organization, and even in the things which they did. Above all, it is the Homo erectus which actually became abundant and migrated from Africa into Europe and Asia. Now we have the Homo neanderthal. The Homo neanderthal is clearly shown in the diagram. These were the most complex again in the way they handled themselves. They are believed to have used symbolism, as seen that they actually took care of the injured. They even stood out in the sense that they buried the dead. The fact that they are carrying flowers is a sign that they used symbolism to show that they believed in life after death. It is also the Homo neanderthal which are believed to have lived in line with Homo sapiens. Therefore, it is through genetic analysis which have brought about that we humans have got Neanderthal genes. This gives us to a conclusion to say one way or the other, there are possibilities that the Homo neanderthal once mated with the Homo sapiens. Now we come to us Homo sapiens. These were none other than our ancestors. They came into existence around 450,000 years ago. And by the fact that they are called Homo sapiens, it means they are thinkers. Therefore, this is a group which had a progressive increase in brain size. And even the things which they invented, it actually shows that they continued to think. They actually even came up with better tools. They actually even came up with better social groups. That's how complex their social organization was. Now, why is South Africa a special place? It takes us back to the Mosel Bay caves, whereby when life nearly became extinct, Mosel Bay caves became a home to everyone. Mosel Bay caves was able to sustain the lives of people who were actually living in that region. We actually get to see also that it is also in South Africa that we actually have got the living fossils, which are none other than the Khoisan group. They are also said to be the most oldest living people on the planet Earth. That's what really makes South Africa to be outstanding. Now, there are critical questions which are asked based on this evolution. That are we yet to go extinct as other species, or are we still evolving? As we answer the question of whether we are going to go extinct or what, this takes us back to the greatest catastrophe called the Toba catastrophe, which happened 74,000 years ago. It nearly wiped out everyone because of how massive this super volcano was. Because of this super volcano, it then resulted in covering the sun. As the sun was covered, it then meant that there was no photosynthesis. Therefore, there was no food. Therefore, because of that, life nearly became extinct. Are we still evolving? There are two types of evolution for us to have a clear picture of what evolution is all about, or whether we are still evolving. That's when we talk about macro evolution and micro evolution. As we talk about macro evolution, we are not evolving based on macro evolution, because micro evolution has to do with the introduction of new species, but we are evolving based on micro evolution, and this has to do with a change in genetic frequencies. A good example I can give is that of the people in Kenya who have become resistant to HIV and AIDS. That's the microevolution we are talking about, that we continue to evolve based on changes in genetic frequencies. In conclusion, climate change and gene frequencies are the major influences of evolution. Humans did not evolve from apes, but we share a common ancestor with them. Lastly, humans continue to evolve based on microevolution. I thank you.